Hello guys, welcome to this video. And in today's video I'll be showing you how to create shapes in Photoshop, right? So let's get to it. So again, if you don't know how to create a Photoshop document and get to this point, just check out the video link in the description. Okay, so how do you create a shape in Photoshop? So you go to the tools bar, which is this one here, and you look for the shape or the shape tool group, which is this one here. So if you right click on it, I think it should look like this. You should have this rectangle on it, right? So if you right click on it, you can now see the other shapes there. Okay, so the first thing we want to select this rectangle and draw a rectangle. Now when you select this one, notice that we have these values that have changed up here, right? You see these, the tools options have appeared here. So if you just how do you draw a shape now? You just click and drag on your screen like so, like that, right? And that's the shape you have drawn. Now the color is white, so let's change this color. So you come here, you have fill, right? Click on that, and you can click here. So the color picker comes up, and you can click on any color you want. Let's say I want yellow, then I'll select the color itself. Click OK. So this my shape now has been filled with the color yellow. Okay. So the next thing, I want to add a stroke, or what we call a border, around the shape. So how do you add a stroke? This stroke here. So you just click in here like so, and you can now decide to add a stroke color. So let me just select, for the purpose of this video, let me just select blue like so. It has been added, but the stroke size is too small. So how do we change that? We change that here. Let's change this value to something like, you can either click on this drop down and increase the slider like so, or you can just type in your value like 10 and press enter like so. So let's use the slider like that. You can also change the look of this stroke by clicking on this drop down, the next drop down here, this one. You can either make it dotted like so, or you can make it broken like that, right? Anyone you want to, like so. So that's basically it. Again, how do you create a shape? Just click and drag like that, and you can now customize how it looks. Let's say we don't want a stroke again, so we just come to stroke, and we now click on this particular icon here to cancel that. So for this particular shape, we don't want a stroke, or let's say we want a stroke instead, but we don't want the fill, right? So we can come to fill and you click here that we don't want the fill for this particular shape. So let's change this back to like so. So we have this particular shape, but we don't have a fill on it, right? So if I go to my move tool and just click here and move this, so you see the fill for this particular shape is gone like that. Okay, so let's see how to draw a circle. So come here, right click on that, and we have now the select ellipse, right? And you click and drag. Whoa, what's happening? So when you click and drag this, it's creating an ellipse, right? How do you make this a circle now? So you can hold shift on your keyboard, and you see Photoshop makes it a perfect circle. So if you allow shift on your keyboard, it's still distorted like this, but if you hold shift, Photoshop constrains it to become a circle like that, right? And you can still change the values, the color of the shape, the stroke, and so on. So let's just give this a color of a blue color like so. Let's clear up the stroke, so we don't want the stroke again, and the stroke is gone, right? So you can go back to your move tool, and you can move these items around like this. You can move them like so. And notice something, when you create a new shape, a new layer is added for each shape. So let's just create another shape quickly. Let's right click on this and create a rectangle, for example. You can drag like so, and the rectangle is added. So you see it's added here, right? So when you're creating a shape, whichever shape you have selected, so go to the move tool. If I have this particular, if I click here, so this one is selected, right? So if I'm to draw a new shape, let's just draw a new shape quickly. That new shape is added above this one. You see it's added above here. But if I go back to your move tool, if I click on select this one, so this is selected here, right? If I now get my shape tool and draw a new shape like so, the shape is added above this one. You see it's not more added right to the top there. So this is added in this particular order in the layering system. Okay, so let me just delete some of these shapes. I'll go back to my move tool and select them. I'll click on this one, so this is it here, and I can now click on this delete this recycle bin here, take yes, and I'll do the same for the others, right? Let's click the same for the others. Okay, so we have now this shape like so, right? Okay, so how do you change this color to a gradient? Again, select this shape, go to your shapes group here like that, then I'll click on this fill. Now we have some options here. So the first one is to have no fill. If you click on it, it has no fill. Next one, if you click on it, you want to give it a color, which is that if you click on this next one, you want to give it a gradient like so, right? So we have something like this. Okay, so how do you change the color of the gradient? Just click on this here and you have something that comes up like this. And now we want to change the gradient of this particular shape here. So for now we have some presets. If you open up your folders, you can see you have some default presets like that which you can use. Open up these folders, we have some ones like this, right? Like that. And you can take OK and it doesn't add it for you like so. And you can decide to have your own custom gradient. Okay, so go back to your shapes, so come back here, click here once. Okay, so now let's just go back to the very basic one again, come back to the default one like this. How do you create your own custom gradient? Okay, so the first thing is you can click here and you can now select a color. Let's I want to select this particular color here like so. So that's my first color. Click on OK, come here, double click here, select your second color like that, and OK, and that's that. So you can click on OK like that, right? Now this is basically a linear gradient which just basically leaves from one color to another color. You can change that up by clicking here. Maybe you can change it to a radial gradient like so. You can change it to an angle gradient like that. You can change it to a reflected gradient like that, or you can change it to a diamond gradient. So for now I'll leave this to a linear gradient, and we have something like this. So I think that's the basics of shapes. And let me show you one last thing. So go back to the shapes and click on custom shapes here. You now have something that appears here, these shapes here. You can click on this and you have several folders with different types of shapes. Depending on your version of Photoshop, use something here. So let's say I select leaves and I select let's say this one, right? You can come and click and drag like this. So you've drawn a tree just like that in Photoshop, right? Click on the move tool and this is you, and it now inherits the gradient stuff we had, right? So we have this like so. So you can change the color by going back to the going back to the shape tool like so, and changing the particular. So here I can change this maybe to a single color. I can decide to change this to this particular gradient like this. If I go to the move tool, click outside, and so this is what we have like that, right? So I think that's it for the basics of how to create shapes and in Photoshop, right? So if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, and see you in the next video.